Hey, lovely to have you with me. I'm here in the beach in Barcelona. You're going to hear quite a lot of noises because it's a holiday. It is the 1st of November. I've been in the sea swimming already. I've done a workout on the beach this morning and I've got loads of people playing beach volleyball. There's some surfing going on, some paddleboarding going on. Also, not surfing, paddleboarding going on. So don't mind the interruptions. Let's enjoy the view and enjoy the benefit that property brings. I live here in Barcelona because I did property. I own a flat just around the corner. I live half of my life in Barcelona, half of my life in Bristol, and that's because I got started in property. So if you're getting started now, you're a little bit nervous, so was I. It doesn't take long to become a multimillionaire in property, but you've got to understand what you're doing, not make too many mistakes, put in consistent work, and you can do it. So today we're going to be talking about power team. How did you get your power team when you first got started? But let me just go back a bit and say, getting a power team suggests outsourcing and delegation, doesn't it? Like actually working with people. Well, these days, I want you to do two more things in your business first. Here's the mantra: eliminate, automate, outsource, then delegate. And the reason I want you to look at elimination first is, what am I doing that's not useful, that I don't need to employ somebody to do, whether they're a contractor, a power team, or whether they're in-house. So what can I eliminate? The second thing is, what can I automate? So for me, I'll give you a couple of examples. I used to employ 2.5 salaried people. So that was like 25 grand, plus obviously my contribution. So just under 30, plus by the time I pay all the taxes as well. So 30, and another 15. So we're talking 75,000 pounds in salaries. And then I would have to manage those people and have weekly meetings with them. And sometimes when performance wasn't right, I would have to kind of figure out what was going wrong and how to help them put it right. So it also sucked up my time. I changed that, and they used to manage my property portfolio. I changed that to, yes, some outsourcing, tenant find and tenant inspections, but also automation. We use Arthur Online. It costs me like peanuts, quite frankly. Today is the 1st of November. My tenants, if they haven't paid, it'll be checked off later on. If they haven't paid, the system automatically emails them, automatically texts them, and they get chased to pay their rent. I don't need to employ a human being to do that anymore because of tech. So things like if you're working with investors, for example, and you want to book them in your diary. I used to employ somebody that managed my diary. Well, now you would use something like Calendly, link it to your diary, send your investor a WhatsApp and say, hey, I've got some time in my diary, it'd be lovely to have a conversation with you. You know, get them booked in your diary, and then you can use something like Zapier to check whether they've booked in or not, and the Zapier will, if they have booked in, it will automatically put that information in your CRM system. So you'd use like HubSpot, I use Keep, MailChimp, there you go. You know, a CRM system like that. You'll use Zapier to put the tag in. If I'm talking absolute Russian to you, don't worry, it was Russian to me years ago, now I totally get it. And you can send some follow-up emails saying, I'm really glad to see that you've booked time in the diary on this date, Here is information about my business. Here is some case studies of what I've done previously. So you can really do a lot of automation first. That's even before we get to power team. But now let's get to the power team. But first, what else have I got to help you with? Well, the YouTube channel. Like and subscribe, please, because then you get all of the YouTube videos out. Have you had a look, or have you had a look recently? Maybe you looked a long time ago at my website. It's called thegoodpropertycompany.co.uk. It is stacked full of super helpful education, downloadable information, 60-day academies, webinars on demand, checklists, packs, sometimes bundles. Occasionally I'll do live webinars. It's absolute treasure chest of information for you if you want to flip, deal source, find investors, or get started. So that's thegoodpropertycompany.co.uk. So I've talked about automation and tech, a real powerful tool for you, so don't miss out on that. But now let's come into the power team members you're going to need. Are you ready? You're going to need a solicitor. If you're running a deal sourcing business, or there's the guys coming down with amazing paddleboards. Oh, I've got paddleboard envy right now. I can see them. You're going to need a solicitor. How do you recruit them? From friends who are property investors, or potentially ask estate agents. If you phone 20 of them and say, who's a responsive, fast solicitor? They're going to tell you. Yeah. And often you're going to look for a solicitor, and often it won't be the solicitor that does the majority of work, it'll be the legal exec who does the day-to-day work, and then the solicitor gets it signed off. Well, that's great because they're probably more available on things like WhatsApp and texting and voicemails than the solicitor is. So you get more done that way. Yeah. So that's how you recruit your solicitor. Next, you're going to need builders. Oh, loads of ways of finding builders. You can run a recruitment strategy yourself. You can literally walk the streets. You know, anytime you see a renovation, go in, ask the owner how they're finding the builder, ask the builder to see their work on site. If the builder is organised on site, and the stock that's about to get put into the property is beautifully laid out, you know that they're good. Yeah. And then obviously get their insurance documentation, get their qualifications, and ask for some references and start them on a small job. You're always going to need to be recruiting builders because builders have a life cycle of between 18 months and 7 years, I've tended to find. Next A-lister you're going to need. The next A-lister you're going to need is a broker. That broker is going to get you your mortgages, right? That broker is like one of the most important people in your business. They need to be really good at buy-to-let mortgages. And if they are a computer says no person, they're useless. You want to hear them say, I need to phone the BDM, the business development manager. I spoke to the sales director the other day. I'm at a conference, so I'm going to ask them about your particular case. Yeah. They are an entrepreneurial broker. Next A-lister you're going to need is your finance team. So your accountant, your bookkeeper, and your investors. Well, investors you'll recruit yourself. You can't get someone else's investors. But accountant, I definitely think you should do a property specialist accountant because they're going to know the taxation laws more carefully. But and often what you'll want is an accountant and a bookkeeper that work together. So the next one is your bookkeeper. Your bookkeeper is your day-to-day genius. And the reason for that is we've probably all been there where at the end of a financial year, we've had to lay out our receipts from one end of the living room to the other and gone, I've got 3 days to pull this together. Yeah, I work with my bookkeeper on a Wednesday morning at 11 o'clock. So today is Tuesday. Tomorrow she'll have gotten all of my October accounts up and running. I'll be able to sign them off and I'll know exactly where I'm at close of play Wednesday financially. Super important. And then the final A-listers are going to be specialists, aren't they? So either you're going to employ individuals, but I actually like you to employ a building firm and don't even need to be worrying about finding a your plasterers and things like that. But specialists like architects, specialists like building regs, surveyors that sign off building regs, specialists like sound engineers, structural engineers. Well, I would ask around for other people that have done great jobs, but how do you find architects? If you're going to do houses into flats, then just go through all of the planning applications that either failed or succeeded within that local area and find out the architect that's got the best batting average. They're the best architect. Isn't it simple? So there's always ways of recruiting A-listers to your team. And if you don't get A-listers in your team isn't going to be an A-team. If your team isn't an A-team, your work isn't going to be top quality and you're going to make less money. I've seen it. The times when I've had poor performing team members, that's when my projects made less money. The times when I kind of had to get into dispute with my silly old architect, and I was annoyed, so don't think that I find it funny. I was extraordinarily annoyed with my architect at one point, was the times that I was spending anger and energy on re-educating this architect that they actually needed to do some work before they got paid and stop BSing me rather than actually focusing on moving a project forward. So you go smooth with A-lister teams. Now the final part of that is to think about lifespan. So your solicitor, you could be working with your solicitor for years. Your builder is probably an 18 months to 7 years lifespan, but roughly about every 3 years they're probably going to change. Your broker, probably years and years and years. Your accountant, if you get one that's well ahead of you, years. If you get one of those ones and super people that do kind of local trades and give you your accounts at the end of the year, you're probably going to need to go through and pass them. Your specialists, probably years and years and years. So some will have shorter lifespans than others, and it's because of the structural nature of their industry, isn't it? So don't worry that the relationship is coming to an end. Just go find yourself a new A-lister to work with. And finally, I want to give you 4 mistakes I've seen people do again and again. The first one is not appreciating and realizing your own level of growth, meaning at times somebody that was an A-lister for, say you were there before in kind of your delivery, your growth, your knowledge, but you've really developed and now you're here, and your A-lister was here, but you've moved to here. Well, your A-lister is no longer pulling you forward. They're actually pulling you back because their knowledge doesn't fit where you've grown. So sometimes you have to appreciate, well, I've grown through and past their particular set of expertise. I need to upgrade my A-lister. And you'll resist doing that with builders, with accountants, because you'll feel loyal to them, but you're not helping yourself and you're just delaying the inevitable. The second mistake is only having one, particularly where you've got shorter lifespans. So that would be, for example, on builders, and not having being at point of choice and having recruited a number of them. Don't do that. Always make sure you're at point of choice. The third mistake, and that's why I started off this entire video with you, is not using tech. You can remove so much cost and improve so much efficiency by using tech, and I highlighted some of them earlier. And the fourth mistake I see people make, not nurturing and appreciating your power team. That lawyer probably worked till like 10 o'clock at night and got up again the next day at 7 in the morning and started work again. And you're like, yeah, thanks, money, bye. You know, treat them like human beings, appreciate their work they do, realize they are going to make mistakes like everybody does, like you do as well. Obviously, they can't make too many mistakes because they can't be a A-lister. Appreciate, nurture, and thank your A-lister team. Right? Do you think it's time for a swim in the sea? Remember, like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, and do have a really good look at my website. It's called thegoodpropertycompany.co.uk. But the most important thing is you get started, you get going in property so that you can live your life and your dreams as well. See you soon. Good luck to you.
Good luck to you. I hope you enjoyed that vid. There is a 101 lessons pack if you haven't downloaded it already, 102 pages. I don't stint. If you just click on the link over there, you can download it now.